All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and this is the Lights Out Sports Podcast special college football playoff edition. Cheese and I are each going to look at those four games. We'll do a few questions in the beginning, one additional question at the very end. But for the most part, this is a preview, prediction, and we're going to give our scores that we think is going to happen for each one of these games. We're just hoping that we get better than we have been here in the last few times we've tried to do stuff like this, right, Cheese?
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully it'll be better this time.
Okay, I'm sure it will, but even if it's not, you know what? If you guys want to bet against us, go right ahead. Maybe that's the best thing to do. So before we get too far away, let's give you a little bit of intro music. We got to do it a little bit different because it's a little different show. So here we go. All right, we're going to see which one of these games we think is going to be the best. We're going to talk about alternative broadcasts. We're going to talk about the games themselves, the quarterbacks, the running backs, the offenses, the defenses, you name it. We're going to jump into this stuff headlong, and we're going to do it all as we're leading up to the Monday Night Football game tonight. So we're going to hopefully get you right up to that. If you're with us live, we appreciate the fact that you are. And if you are, simply chat us. As long as you'll talk about what we're talking about, then we'll make sure to include you, and we will go from there. So, Cheese, buddy, how you been? I haven't seen you in a few days, man.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Just ready for these games. Wednesday and Thursday this week because the holiday. They're weird days.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a weird thing. I'm glad you kind of brought that up because that'll lead us to my first question here. So, do you have a problem with the way the games have been scheduled? That, you know, you got Miami and Ohio State as the standalone game on the first night, and then you got Oregon, Texas Tech. I mean, that's really early, especially if you're out here on the West Coast like I am. It's like 10 a.m. for us. Indiana, Alabama is that middle game, and then Georgia versus Ole Miss gets the prime time spot as compared to the other three games. Do you like how it's scheduled?
I do not like a New Year's Eve game. They started that probably over a decade ago.
Okay.
And it's just like as a fan who has to watch the games, I can never do anything for New Year's Eve because by the time the game's over, it's 10 o'clock my time. East Coast, if it goes to overtime, it could be past 10. On East Coast, past 11. And, so there's really nothing. So I just pretty much have to stay in. So I don't like any games on New Year's Eve.
I mean, I know this is the college football one, but we'll give people their,
I love it.
My Cheese, this is setting you up kind of perfect here. What do you do on your YouTube channel? Tell us where it's at and all that good stuff. Go ahead and plug it right away, man.
Okay. It's Football with Cheese. Cheese is Cheez. Hi. And I talk college football, but mostly NFL and big focus on the NFL draft. And I just did a video yesterday about how anyone that's saying Malik Willis is better than Jordan Love is insane. That's not true. And I have a video I'm going to release as soon as this is over. I didn't have a chance yet. It's a series I'm doing called What Went Wrong. I'm going to do at least half a dozen teams teams that had much higher expectations and everything went wrong. And I did the Detroit Lions. So I will release that as soon as this show is over. So make sure you check it out and follow me and hit the bell.
All right.
67.
Yeah. Everyone forgot the game was on. I don't know. What game? What game is on? It'll be on here in just a little bit. We'll do the Monday Night Football game here. We're going to lead you right up to it. So should be good. I don't know if we should put this on here or not, but
I think 67.
I guess you're really bored. I don't know. Okay, great. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll just keep right on going. Yes. So I want to praise everybody. I appreciate the fact that this week on our YouTube channel, we're just growing and growing and growing, just like Cheese's YouTube channel is growing as well. We got almost 7,000 views on our YouTube channel today, or not today, but this past week. So we appreciate you guys. We're really starting to do a lot of the shorts and things like that. You guys are responding to us, and we appreciate it. All right, so let's get going here on a couple of other fronts. We've asked you, Cheese, about the scheduling. So because Georgia and Ole Miss got that prime time spot, do you think Georgia and Ole Miss will be the best game of the three that are on New Year's Day?
I don't necessarily think that. No, I don't necessarily think that at all, actually. Basically, they chose the time of these games before they knew the opponent. So they chose Ohio State for New Year's Eve. They chose Georgia for prime time. They chose Tech. I think because Texas Tech is probably the least biggest, sexiest team maybe for the early slot, but they had to know they were playing Oregon. And they had to know that Georgia was playing Ole Miss. So I don't necessarily think that it's the best game at all, actually. It might be the worst game.
Yeah, it's kind of what I think. It might be the worst game. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I definitely don't think it's going to be the best game. We'll talk about it more as we go into it. Would you have rather seen the game scheduled 2 on New Year's Eve and then 2 on New Year's Day?
I don't want any game on New Year's Eve. I'd rather all 4 on New Year's Day, or why not have 2 on the 1st, 2 on the 2nd of January? Why not do that? Spread them out. You can do afternoon, evening game. Or have them all. New Year's Day, that'd be tough to have all 4 because you don't want to overlap. So you might have to start like real early. But no, I don't like any game on New Year's Eve.
Okay. I don't mind it too much. I mean, for a person that has to work, I don't have to, but I choose to. I choose to work on the holidays. We talked about this, especially with the Christmas stuff, as far as what I do for a living and everything. So I kind of like it. I liked it when I had kids and people would work for me so that I could have it off for my kids. And now that I'm an old man and my kids are pretty much gone. I mean, they're not gone, but they don't live with me anymore or anything like that. So, we don't do a whole lot as far as that part goes. So I try to work and let the people who do have small kids and stuff like that have the days and do what they need to do. So it's going to be, I'll work days, but I'm not going to work any doubles as far as that goes. So I'll be able to come home and see the majority of these games. And then the ones that I miss, I'll watch on tape later on. So I like it because I can get home and then I can watch the Ohio State game. That's the one I want to watch. So I was very happy that it was kind of a standalone game by itself. But you said that they actually picked these before they knew the opponents?
If you ask me a question, I don't know why, but you're just breaking up really bad, so I have no idea what you just said.
Okay. Nope. We'll just keep right on going here, buddy. I don't know what's going on with our stuff. Hang on.
I don't know, but yeah.
Let me punch a couple of other buttons over here. I know, it's great recording here. Let me hit a couple buttons on the soundboard. Awesome.
Yeah, so follow me on X at Football Cheese, football, then CHEEZ. Follow me on X. And I have a poll that I set it up so it'll end tomorrow during our podcast, which we do every Tuesday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And it's, do you think Mike Tomlin will be fired if they lose to the Ravens, which they'll be knocked out of the playoffs? So it's at the very top. I just retweeted. It's at the very top of my X at Football Cheese. So make sure you go vote, and the results we will do tomorrow during the podcast. Guys.
All right.
Hey.
We got a bunch of highs, or a bunch of somethings.
Welcome.
All right. So we appreciate that. Now, is that any better, Cheese? Can you hear me better? I take it that's a no.
It's still breaking up some. I heard you there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you great.
Okay. You're still breaking up a little bit. Well, thank you.
She's meaning you. She nothing to do with me.
I thought you meant you.
No,
Oh,
I
I
don't think
thought you
so.
meant you. Okay. Okay. I thought you
Oh,
meant you.
shoot.
It's
All right, so let's go ahead and
commentators.
Right,
with an S,
right.
So
All
both of
right,
us.
so you got all the point spreads on all these games for us. We'll get into all of
Mhm.
that. We'll start
do.
them. We'll start these games and we'll do them the way they're going to be played. So the first game we'll look at is the first game that's going to happen. Ohio State, number 2, versus number 10, Miami. It's the Cotton Bowl, ESPN, on Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time from AT&T Stadium. So I'm going to ask you this, Cheese. Can Miami rush the ball against Ohio State?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Miami only put up 10 on Texas A&M. Let's be honest. They won the game, but they scored 10 points. Missed some field goals, but their offense did not look great. And Ohio State's defense, Texas A&M's defense is very good, but Ohio State's defense is better. So I think they're going to struggle to run the ball. I think it's going to be tough.
I do too. I think it's going to be really, really tough. We got a good question for you here in a second. I'll put it up on the chat as soon as we're done with the Ohio State game because it's an interesting question. It's a football question, but we're getting asked a question on our chat. We'll throw it up here in just a second. I know who it is, so we'll get to it here in just a second. So there's can they run against Ohio State? Now, only 3 teams have rushed over 100 yards against the Ohio State defense all season. Those teams were Michigan, Texas, and Indiana. And those 3 teams combined for 384 yards on 95 carries. So that equals about 2.8 yards a carry. Miami's running back, Mark Fletcher Jr., has only had 4 games where he's rushed over 100 yards all season. So, those are kind of the stats behind can Miami run the ball against Ohio State. We'll keep building on this, and we'll give you our prediction and our score here at the end. Cheese, how about this? Can Miami stop Ohio State's wide receivers?
Can anybody? I don't think so. They're so deep and they're so good. I expect them to try to take away Carnell Tate and the deep ball, play too deep, not give up the big play. That's what I expect them to do. So they might be able to contain them a little bit. But if you do that and you try to make sure Carnell Tate doesn't beat you over the top, what's the rest of the receivers going to do? What's Jeremiah Smith going to do? Like, it's wide receiver you. So they better find some way to limit them or they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I agree. But I also have to give Miami credit. They did do a pretty good job of containing the duo of Kramer and Concepcion and beating Texas A&M. But Smith and Tate are both better receivers than either one of them. So, I think it's going to be a little bit of tough sledding for them. I also want to say that, we've talked about this before in the past. We know that most teams in these type of games, or really in any game, have like the first 10, 12, 15 plays scripted. So I'm going to say that Ohio State, in one of those first, we'll say 15 plays that's scripted, I think they're going to try to throw that ball down the field to one of those 2 big receivers and try to get a big chunk play within those within those 15 plays they have scripted.
Miami had the best scoring defense in the ACC. Now it is the ACC, but they were better against the run than the pass. They were first against the run in the ACC, but they were not for against the pass. I thought I had it, but I lost it. Anyway, but they were easier to pass on than run on. So still a really good defense. And they gave Marcel Reed a ton of trouble with their pass rush. That's the key. Is their pass rush is very good. And that's how they're going to stop the Ohio State passing game if they do, is getting pressure on Satan. That's, to me, the best way because, like we just said, I don't think you can really stop all those receivers.
Right. It's going to be difficult. You're 100% right. So I'm going to give you my answer to this question first, and then I'll ask you, who has the better quarterback? So Julian Sand has tossed an interception in each of his last 2 contests, one to Michigan and one to Indiana. He has only thrown 6 picks all season long and at least 1 touchdown in all 13 of the Buckeyes games this season. So Sayan is completing 78.4% of his passes for the season. And if he keeps that up, it'll be an FSS record. He'll break the 2023 mark set by some guy that we all might know. His name's Bo Nix. So over his last 4, he has not completed more than 75% of his passes, though. Now about Carson Beck. He is, of course, the Miami quarterback. He had a horrible stretch in the middle of the season where he had 4 interceptions and a home loss against Louisville, and he threw 2 more on the road in a loss to SMU. But since then, in his last 5 games, he's thrown 12 touchdowns and 1 interception, and in the A&M game, he went 14 for 20 for only 104 yards. I'm not counting that glorified handoff to Tooney in that game. So not going to do it. So right. Both of these quarterbacks have kind of been, I don't want to say up and down, but they have their flaws, but yet they're really good. So, Cheese, I'll ask you, which quarterback do you think is better, Sayan or Beck?
Sayan's a lot better than Beck. Beck is frustrating at times. That's why he lost his job at Georgia. He'll look so good sometimes, and other times he's just a disaster. Throwing picks. He has 10 picks on the year. Doesn't take a lot of sacks, but 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, only 11 sacks. That's one thing he does not take, but true. I think Sayan's a whole level higher than Beck.
Okay. So a whole level higher, not just a little bit, a whole level higher there. Now, to me, as we kind of wrap up this first game, Ohio State versus Miami in the Cotton Bowl, and of course it's the Wednesday night game, the standalone game on Wednesday. The other 3 are on Thursday. I believe, even though I'm a huge Ohio State guy, I do believe that there is a way that Miami can win. So follow me here for a second, see if you agree with me or you want to put your own spin on it here, Cheese. So Miami's defensive front took over in the second half of that win over A&M, and I know that you know that because you really watch the offensive defensive lines. The Hurricanes had 7 sacks, as Bain had 3, and then Scott had 2, and Messidor?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, that guy. That guy had another 1.5, right? So that's Miami's best chance of pulling off the upset, in my opinion. Sayan was sacked 5 times, if you'll remember, in the Big Ten title game, and that loss to Indiana. And entering that game, he had not been sacked more than 6 times all season long. I don't think it's a coincidence that the number of sacks allowed correlated with Ohio State's worst offensive production of the season since week 1. So if Sayan can't get comfortable, Miami may be able to wreak havoc. What do you think about that difference in the dynamic of the game? Do you think I'm right, wrong? You want to throw something else in there? What are you looking at, Cheese?
Yeah, I think I think you're pretty much right. Yeah, Ruben Bain is incredible. He's going to be mocked to the Tennessee Titans in most mocks because they need a pass rusher, and he's probably a likely top 5 pick. What they're going to do is what Ohio State wants to do is hit the big plays with the receivers. If that happens, they will win, period. So Miami's going to play 2 deep safety. They're going to hope to get pass rush with 4. They're going to drop in zone and hope to keep it close, kind of like A&M, low scoring, keep it close, and find a way to win in the fourth quarter. It's going to be tough. But if they give up in even 20 points, I think they lose. They have to keep it really low scoring because I don't think they're going to score 20 points.
Okay. So we're going to talk about something here in the NFL-wise in a second. It's on our chat. We'll get to it here next. And then we're also going to talk about Iowa. We're going to talk about a few little things in between each game as we go as well. So, all right, buddy. I don't have anything else for this game. Do you have anything else for the Ohio State-Miami contest you want to bring up to our fans?
I kind of half heard what you said. I don't know why. You're breaking up so bad. I don't know why. But, yeah, I still wonder if 3 whole weeks off is going to affect these top 4 seeds.
Yeah.
It really affected them last year. I think 5 through 8 was stronger last year. They all won. If anyone doesn't know, the 5 through 8 seeds all won, or the teams that didn't get a bye all won because they had played one of the main reasons they had played a game in the last 3 weeks. The other teams hadn't. So I just wonder if some of these teams will come out flat. That's the only chance I think Miami really has, is if Ohio State's just not on the same page. It's been too many weeks without playing. Like Oregon came out so flat last year against Ohio State. So that's only other factor I would say in this game.
Okay. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just not sure how it's going to affect. We don't know. That was the first time ever that happened. Maybe that was the reason why. This is the second time. So I would think that those teams won't let that happen again, but we'll see. Maybe you're right. Maybe it will happen again. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my prediction and score, and then I'll let you do yours. All right. So I don't think this is going to be much of a game, to be very honest with you. I think Ohio State runs away with this. It'll be a good game in the first couple of quarters, but halftime on, I really think Ohio State's going to run away with this. So I'm gonna put a big score out here. Actually, I'm gonna go 38-21. Ohio State beats Miami.
I don't think there'll be nearly that much scoring. Not even close. The spread is 9.5. That's such a tricky spread. It's almost like they want you to pick Ohio State. All we have to do is win by 10. So I'm going to say Miami keeps it closer and covers the 9.5, but Ohio State wins. It's close for a while, and then Ohio State makes a big play with the receivers to kind of get them over the hump, and they win by 8 or 9 points. So I'll give you Ohio State low scoring.
All right, Ohio State in a low-scoring affair. All right, let's get to our comment, and I can't wait to see your reaction on this one. So for those of you, let me set this up a little bit. So for those of you who don't know, Cheese thinks that Matt LaFleur needs to be fired like 3 weeks ago. And then he has a poll question. 3 years ago. Okay. So he has a poll question up on his account right now, up on his X account. What's your X account again, Cheese?
At Football Cheese, Cheese spelled CHEEZ, like you see on the screen. Yeah, it should be at the top.
Okay. So it should be at the top, should be the first thing you see when you get on his profile. You can vote there. And it's basically saying that if Mike Tomlin loses against Baltimore this coming weekend, will he be fired? So one of our people here took both of these things and combined it into one question. And I can't wait for Cheese to answer. Here it is.
No. He'd be better than LaFleur. Here's the problem with Tomlin, and I defended him in the past, is there's always some Tomlin games. It's not a term where a game they really need to win late in the season and they play a horrible team and they just blow it. Tomlin is 0-4-1 in his last 5 games against teams that are 8 games below 500. That's unbelievable. Last year against the Browns, this year against the Browns, late in the year, games they really needed, and the team just doesn't show up. Now, DK Metcalf being out really hurt the offense, but no, I think the Packers, yeah, it's his own fault, but still, besides that, they still should have won the game. And no, I think Tomlin, if he does get fired, I think he'll take some time off, maybe go to TV for the next year. So, no, I do not think he would be the next Packers head coach. I think if they do fire LaFleur, it'll be Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator of the Packers.
Okay. All right. So we got into – at least you got in to say what it would be, and I'll give you that. Okay. Excellent. Let's move on to the second game. So again, we're going to do it as they're going to be played. So we've already talked about Miami and Ohio State. The next game will be the early game on New Year's Day. That's Texas Tech and Oregon. The Orange Bowl at the Hard Rock Stadium. It'll be noon Eastern Time, Thursday, New Year's Day on ESPN. Cheese, I think it's pretty safe to say that Texas Tech took all advantage of the transfer portal, and they ran away with the Big 12. What are you laughing for?
Because they did. They bought a team. 7 or 8 of their defensive starters weren't on the team last year. They basically, with oil money, they bought a whole team.
Yep. So absolutely. Texas Tech then outscored their opponents by 30-plus points on average per game. Now, they did lose to ASU, but that was with their backup quarterback. The smallest margin of victory all season for Texas Tech came in a 29-7 win over BYU, a team that both you and I think should have made it into the college football playoff, and that was on November 8th. They then won by dominating performances over their final 2 regular season games by a combined score of, get this, 97-9 to set up a rematch with the Cougars, and there Tech blew them out even worse than the first time and went 34-7. And that, then they get their first Big 12 title in school history. So what do you think about Texas Tech getting to the point where they are right now by basically, I'll use your words, by buying a team? Are you okay with that?
No, I don't like the transfer portal. I don't like this, how some teams have more money than others. I think they need a salary cap. It might be hard to track, but they need to do some kind of salary cap, because you shouldn't be able to buy a team, and it worked. So every school looking at Texas Tech, if they have any billionaire alum, they're calling them up and said, we need to buy a team. We need this. We need that. It's no guarantee. It doesn't always work out. Some teams spent a lot of money and didn't do crap this year, but no, I don't like it. I could go off on the NIL, but you shouldn't be able to buy a whole team. There should be a number of transfers that you can take, in my opinion. Like 15 a year. You can have 15 transfers, period. You shouldn't be able to buy a whole team.
No, I agree with you. I don't like the way they've done it either. That's why I kind of wanted to bring it up and discuss it for a second before we dive into the X's and O's of this particular game. So here's the thing, though, buddy. With all of that, now that you know all of that stuff, yes, they bought a team. They beat people by 30-plus points. They beat BYU twice convincingly. The only team that they lost to was Arizona State, who didn't have a bad season either, had a lot of injuries, and they lost to ASU with their backup quarterback, they being Texas Tech. So knowing all that, try to convince me for a moment that Oregon can actually win this game.
They got to run the football, I think. This is the hardest game to predict, in my opinion, because I could see Texas Tech just shutting Oregon down, and I could see Oregon being the toughest, to be a challenge for the defense, because all the speed Oregon's got, because they run the ball and they pass the ball. Oregon they're good on offense and they're good on defense. Are they great on either one? I don't know. They're just good.
I think so. Yeah.
And they have a really good quarterback. They can run the ball. But their games this year where their offense just didn't look great. They did not look good against Iowa at all. So I could see Oregon winning by 2 scores. I could see Texas Tech winning by 2 scores. I don't know how this is going to go, because we haven't seen Texas Tech play another team like this. And when they played teams that they're better in, they absolutely dominated. And you should. Like, that's the thing, is when your team like Texas Tech you're not playing Ohio State, you're not playing Oregon, you're not playing Georgia. When you play teams that are like the next tier down, maybe even still ranked teams, just not as good, you should blow them out to prove you're there. And they have. Yeah. So I respect that. So I have no idea what's going to happen in this game.
All right. So you brought it up, and I'll piggyback off of it. And Oregon has to run the ball against Texas Tech. They have to. The Red Raiders allow a staggering only 2.3 yards per carry. Just to give you a little bit more here, BYU rushed the ball 57 times in their 2 meetings against them, and they got 130 yards total out of rushing the ball 57 times against them. And it's not like BYU's a terrible team. BYU's a good team. Yet the Ducks average almost 6 yards a carry as a team, and have 20 in this last game against James Madison. They had 26 carries for 201 yards against them. And that playoff game was the first game all season long that Oregon hadn't rushed the ball at least 30 times. So they run the ball, and they're fast, Cheese. I know you know this. They're fast. They get to the outside and they run it that way. but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do that against this Texas Tech defense. So what do you think about the fact that Oregon has been fast all year long, and that's basically what they have used to win most of their games, their speed?
Yeah, when they went up a more physical team like Iowa, it was on the road, and I think it was not the best weather, but when they went up a physical team, they struggled a little bit. So that's what Texas Tech got to do. They got to be physical. They, got to win in the trenches, and Texas Tech has a very good defensive line. Here's what Oregon's going to do, okay? They're going to try to get the ball out quick, get it in their playmakers' hands. They're going to throw the running backs. They're going to throw to the receivers. They're going to throw to what is his name? They have the best tight end in the country, maybe. Kenyon Sadiq. Yes, Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah,
really good tight end. They're going to get rid of it quick. This is what they like to do. This is why Bo Nix has a completion percentage record, because they get rid of it quick and let their playmakers just go in the open field, yards after catch, make plays in the open field. That's what they're going to want to do. They want to stop the Texas Tech pass rush. Dante Moore's not going to go back and take these 5-step drops and let them just rush the passer. So they're going to try to get rid of it quick. So Texas Tech has to play uptight. They got to play press, and they got to make the tackles. If they do, Oregon could really struggle to move the ball. So that's what Oregon's going to want to do. So Texas Tech, as long as they're physical, they win at the point of attack, and they tackle, then they will – if they do that, they'll win this game.
Okay. You just basically spilled out the formula for Texas Tech. I hope they're listening right now, because you just gave it to them, buddy. So, all right, we have pretty much dove into this one. I think we've looked at everything from pretty much every perspective. Any final thoughts you want to put on this game before we do predictions and score?
No, it's such a tough game to I really don't know how good Oregon is, and I don't really know how good Texas Tech is.
That's true.
I don't really know what to do with this game. But I don't know. I think I know where you're going, but
okay. So
yeah,
let me do mine first then. So give me the spread. Okay. What's the spread on the game, Chiefs?
Oregon by 2.5. It's by far the smallest spread of the four games.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. So I like Texas Tech in this game a lot. You know, those people who have been with us the whole time know I have not been impressed with Oregon whatsoever. I love Dan Lanning. I love a few of the players that they've got on that team, but as a team as a whole, I just don't. Yeah, the only real true test they had was Indiana, and that didn't work out very well for them, in my opinion. So I'm going to pick Texas Tech straight out. I would certainly pick them to cover the spread, but I'm going to go. I don't think this is going to be a very good game either, to be honest. I think it's going to go the same way the Ohio State-Miami game is going to go, which is, they'll be there for the first couple of quarters, and then Texas Tech is just going to start pulling away in the second half. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as I thought Ohio State and Miami is going to be, so I'll temper that down a little bit. I'm going to go 28-20 Texas Tech over Oregon, 28-20.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Texas Tech as well. The only thing I just mentioned with the other game that worries me is Texas Tech's offense comes out flat because of the 3 weeks off. If that happens, Oregon gets up like 2 scores real quick, they could be in trouble. But I don't think that's going to happen. I do think it's going to be close, but I do think Texas Tech wins in a close one, so I'd have them covering, obviously, 2.5. But, yeah. So give me Texas Tech to win by 3 to 7 points.
All right, guys. Hey, we thank you very much. This is the Lights Out Sports Podcast. It is our special college football playoff edition. We're going to take you right up to the start of Monday Night Football. I'm sure Cheese has got it on in the background. He's watching that. You see my TV and where it's located, and I can't have the TV on in the background or YouTube will block us in a heartbeat. So we don't want that to happen. So Cheese will have to give me a little bit of emotion or something when we get close here. So Well, it hasn't started yet, but I'll do it at the end of the pod tonight. But I get 2 reasons why this game is actually really important. I can do it now or do it later. Okay, no, let's do it later. I like how you're going to do that. We'll wrap it up and do it right before then. Man, that's going to be great. I can't wait to hear that. That'll be fantastic. So this is our college football playoff special. that we're doing right now. Tomorrow night, we're going to do our regular Lights Out Sports podcast. We can't wait to bring you that. Stick with us on our X account. That is at All Sports Off SM on X. We'll put our poll question up for tomorrow here in just a little bit. We'll put some shorts up on our YouTube channel. Please wait. I gotta hand this over to Cheese because he does this so well on his channel. What all are people supposed to do on a YouTube channel, Cheese?
So what you're supposed to do is subscribe, hit the bell for notification, because you never know when we could go live. Decide to do a reaction, to do a watch along. So that way, if you hit the bell, you'll know every time we go live. So, and also that button that looks like this, the thumb up, hit that right now, like this, if you're on YouTube.
I gotta remember where my camera is and put, okay, got it. But I don't want to cover up the face, so.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that.
Maybe you can. Maybe you can.
Sure you can, right?
I don't think it would hurt.
Everybody agrees.
I don't think it would hurt anything if you
face. No big deal. All right, so the middle game on New Year's Day. Oh, man, you're just lucky you live so far away from me. New Year's Day, right? Indiana and Alabama. It's the Rose Bowl, Pasadena, California. Oh, I love this venue. This is on my bucket list. One of the places that I want to go. I've never been there yet. I want to go watch a college football game at the Rose Bowl. It's on my bucket list. It'll be 4 p.m. Thursday on ESPN. Cheese, I know this is not on the notes, and I'll click back over to you here for a second. Have you ever been to Pasadena? You ever been to the Rose Bowl?
I have never been to Southern California, no.
No. Is it, would you consider this on your bucket list like it is mine? Or are you just like, if I get there, okay. If I don't, okay. I mean.
The second one, if I get there, I'm not one of those that just is really into just have to see this stadium. Probably more baseball oriented with that. So as far as NFL stadiums, I'm not one of those, I got to see it there as much. More so with baseball.
All right. I get it. I'm kind of in the same boat as far as baseball goes. I would much rather go to a lot of the baseball stadiums. But I don't know. There's just something about some of these older stadiums that I want to get to. And of course, going out there to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena would be one of those. So let's look at the quarterbacks in this game. One's been steady and the other one's been kind of up and down. Fernando Mendoza, of course, the Heisman Trophy winner and the Cal transfer. I didn't know he transferred from Cal until I was really looking up some stuff on him for this show. So he did transfer from Cal, had 4 games this season where he's thrown as many or more touchdown passes than incompletions. Let me read that again because I had to do a double take on this stat.
Yeah.
Yes, there has been 4 times where he has thrown more touchdown passes than incompletions, not interceptions, incompletions. I'll give them to you here real quick. He had 4 touchdowns and 4 incompletions against Michigan State. He had 4 touchdowns and 2 incompletions against Wisconsin. He had 5 touchdowns and 2 incompletions against Illinois, and he had 5 touchdowns and 1 incompletion against Indiana State. Now, I will say none of those teams are really great teams, so I'm not sure how much you can put into that stat with the exception of the fact that he is just super consistent. There's a but here, though, and you kind of knew there was a but coming with me, but there's a but. He needs 20 yards in this game to reach 3,000 yards. And as I'm looking at everybody else's quarterbacks, most of them have gone either over or way over 3,000 yards. So that was kind of a mystery part to me here. But let's look at Alabama's Ty Simpson for a second. He struggled against Georgia, like the entire team did, okay? So he went 19 for 39, 212 yards, and a touchdown and an interception. That's not great. It was the first time all season that he's completed fewer than 50% of his passes in a single game. And then this last game we just did, in fact, the watch along that Cheese and I did against Oklahoma, he went 18 of 29 passing for 232 yards and threw 2 touchdowns. So Simpson has thrown for 3,500 yards over 14 games with 28 touchdowns. And overall, he only has 5 interceptions. But I have to wonder here, and Cheese, this is where I kind of want your opinion on these 2 quarterbacks. Mendoza seems steady. No matter who he plays, he's just steady. He's not great, but he's steady. He reminds me of Bo Nix a lot, right? And then Ty Simpson seems to play really well against bad teams and struggle against the better teams. So do you think those 2 things are correlation against each other? And how do you think those two quarterbacks are going to do on New Year's Day?
Well, one of them won the Heisman, probably because he's been so efficient, so consistent and efficient. But
right,
it doesn't matter who you're playing. When you have 2 incompletions and 4 touchdowns, I don't care who you're playing. It's insane.
yes.
And there's a reason he won the Heisman. I would have voted for him too. I absolutely would have. So Diego Pavia, whatever his name is, he didn't take it too well. No. But I'm sorry, but Mendoza's just better. So Simpson needs a good protection. The Alabama offensive line struggles at times. And if he gets a clean pocket, he is so accurate, so efficient. The problem is when they do break down early in the Oklahoma game, the entire Florida State game, the entire Georgia game, when he's got pressure and has to move, he is just not nearly as efficient. That's when he starts making mistakes. And I know they beat Oklahoma and they're in this game, but this is not Oklahoma. They're not going to drop a punt. They're not going to give you a pick six. They're just Indiana is the most consistent team in the country. They don't turn the ball over. They almost always show up. Just like every game, they had a few close games. Ohio State, I think Penn State was close, but still, they play well in the fourth quarter and they don't beat themselves. And Alabama needed that to even. They were down 17-0. If they get down 17-0, they're done. I mean, it's over. It's not Oklahoma. So that's the biggest problem, Alabama. They better hope in this game that they protect Ty Simpson. That's the only chance they have.
Okay. So I think because of the difference in the two programs, I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm very curious to your answer here. So does Alabama have better athletes or just more flashy athletes?
Just more flashy athletes. Indiana has a ton of athletes. This is not the Nick Saban 10, 12 years ago where they have 6 or 7 top 50 picks every year. This is not that. This is a 3 or 4 top 100 pick type team.
Wow. Wait. You just said a 3 or 4 top 100 pick.
For next year's draft, probably. Because Ty Simpson, I'm not assuming he didn't come out. This is just not the Alabama teams where just every year they were ranked number 1 or 2. I mean, you know me in the draft.
Yes,
I'm a draft analyst as well. I follow the draft, and Alabama would have sometimes 5 top 30 players on people's boards, and almost every year, 6 or 7 top 50 players in the draft. Almost every year. They might be lucky to have 2 this year, and maybe 3. And it's just not the same. And they're going to have a lot of trouble with what Indiana does well. And they were having a lot of trouble early on against Oklahoma. And Indiana is better than Oklahoma. So it's just flashy. To answer your question, just flashy. It's not better.
Yeah, I'm with you. Indiana calls themselves a team of misfits a lot. I heard Mendoza mention that I don't know how many times in interviews that he's done. And I believe he even said it during his acceptance speech for the Heisman Trophy. So kind of building off of that and this land of misfit toys kind of guys, right? I want Indiana to win. I'm just going to put it out there right now. I want Indiana to win. They are the closest thing to a Cinderella story in these playoffs right now. So do you think other fans think the same? And is that going to affect the outcome as far as the gambling aspect from it? Do you think the gamblers are going to exploit people who just want Indiana to win?
Possibly. I think most of the country is going to want Indiana to win. People are tired of Alabama. Alabama, they're one of those teams that people hate. So a lot of people are going to go for Indiana. Now, if Indiana is a top 5 team the next 4 or 5 years, they're going to start getting some hate. People are going to be tired of them. That's just the way it works.
Right.
I just checked my notes real quick. I have 6 top 100. It's not it's a rough draft.
Yet, right?
6 top 100 Indiana players and 4 top 100 Alabama players right now.
Oh, wow.
Assuming Ty Simpson doesn't come out. So, and I have 2 wide receivers from Indiana in the top 100 and two Alabama. So they have receivers too. It's not like Alabama's. They got a great receiving core. And obviously Ryan Williams is a sophomore. He can't come out. But Indiana has good receivers too. They have good athletes. They have good offensive line. There's, obviously Mendoza is going to be right up there. But so, yeah, it's just, there's not much difference in talent as far as athletes at all. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They both have really good athletes, but I don't know. See, there's a spread. If it was like a pick 'em, everyone will be betting Indiana maybe, but the spread is. I switched screens to my list. Hold on. 7. Indiana by 7. That's interesting. I just think they can't come out and start like they did against Georgia. They can't come out and start like they did against Oklahoma. They'll get killed. They have got to start well, and they have not been. And this is just not, for me, that great a team. They can't even run the ball. They can't.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
The average defense is this. So, yeah.
All right, so let's piggyback off that a second, because this is my last thing, and then we'll see if you have anything else after this, Cheese. So the running games of each one of these teams, right? So we all know, this is how my notes start. We all know Alabama can't run the ball, and we all do. We all know it. After a -3 rushing yards against Georgia, that's what they had, Alabama had 28 yards on 25 carries against Oklahoma, and they won that game. Well, they didn't really win. Oklahoma did, but Alabama has rushed for more than 150 yards against just two FBS teams all season, and they're averaging just 3.4 yards a carry. That's not going to get it done. Quarterbacks, on the other hand, have thrown for 2,334 yards against the Hoosiers and have tallied just 7 touchdowns. And let me give you this stat. Those 7 touchdowns, they've only done, again, 2,334 yards the entire season against the Hoosiers. And they've allowed 7 touchdowns. But they have allowed 7 touchdowns in 7 different games. There has been no one game where Indiana has allowed more than 1 touchdown through the air against them. So not one quarterback has thrown multiple touchdown passes against Indiana so far this year. That's a couple crazy stats, one for their quarterback and one for their defense against all the other quarterbacks.
Yo, sorry. You broke up there, Dan. I know you. And they win against Dante Moore, and they win against Luke Altmaier. They win against Julian Sayans. It's not like they didn't go against good quarterbacks, but they held Ohio State to 10 points in a neutral site game. So Ohio State's a very good offense, as we know. So, Alabama's going to have trouble to me. They're going to be one-dimensional, and if they don't, they have to pass the ball because they can't run. And if they don't protect Ty Simpson, this could get ugly.
Yeah, I don't think they can score as many points as Ohio State did against them. So let me just give you the scoring prediction right now for me, right? Here we go. You ready? Alabama's going to get killed.
Yeah.
It's going to be 24-6. They're going to get 2 field goals, and that's it. 24-6, Indiana over Alabama.
Yeah, I think it'll be similar to that. I think I got Indiana covering the spread. Once again, I just realized so far I'm picking all the teams with the buys. Just that 3 week they haven't done all year, and they had 3 weeks off. And some of these teams might come out flat, but there's no way I'm picking Alabama. This is the worst team left to me. Yeah,
absolutely.
Any worse than Miami? Yeah, I think Indiana. It's a terrible matchup for Alabama. So Indiana wins. Yeah, 24-6, something like that. 2 or 3 scores. Alabama's just, they're going to have trouble scoring points.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me give you a little thing that we do in between these games just for a second. We'll talk about this. We talked about it a little bit off air. I've got to talk about it because it's on our timeline right now. It's on our X, which is at All Gloves Off SN, stands for Sports Media. But as most of you know, you can't put all of that great big thing in a Twitter or a Twitter account there. So we had to shorten it a little bit. So an account that we follow, CFB Talk Daily, which you should follow too if you're into college football. They probably won't follow you back. I'm not going to get onto my big soapbox about following people back, but I will tell you this: look at our numbers, the people who we follow and follow back. I'll just leave it at that. All right. So they say, I don't see how this current college football landscape is sustainable. Iowa State has been a solid program for years, and they have 16 players remaining on their roster for next year, and only one of them is a returning starter. Let's talk about this for just a couple of minutes, Cheese. How can a program like Iowa State compete with the way this transfer portal is going right now?
They lost their coach, and a lot of players obviously left. It's a mess. And we've talked about this with UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio. 20 or 30 of their players weren't playing in that game, in the bowl game, because they were transferring. He had hard time even putting enough players out there on the field. It's this transfer portal, early transfer portal. It's bad. And I don't know what's going to happen to Iowa State. Their quarterback is leaving. A lot of their good players. Some of them are probably going to Penn State. You know, losing your coach can just completely ruin your program overnight, and that's terrible. And that shouldn't happen. And it's awful for college football. They've got to find a way to fix this, because this, I don't know. And John Calipari, who's a college basketball coach for Arkansas.
Don't give too much of it. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Okay, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But he had a good idea.
Make sure you check it out tomorrow.
Okay. Make sure you check it out tomorrow. On the Lights Out Podcast, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
There you go. There's a nice
here on the
recovery for a tease. I appreciate it.
Okay.
But he does. He being John Calipari, a basketball coach, pretty famous basketball coach, talks about what we can do, or what college football can do, or not just football, but college sports in general can do.
He has a good idea.
Yeah, it is a great idea. We'll play that video tomorrow. It is, if you want to get a head start on it, it is over on our X account. Again, that is All Gloves Off SM. It's there. It's buried some because I retweet and do a lot, but it's there. We'll play it tomorrow, and then we'll react to it and talk about it. Before we get to this last game, Cheese, I do want to talk about Battle Bites down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. It's great for muscle recovery. 26 grams of high-quality protein, low carb, high protein formula. It has clean ingredients, premium brisket, natural spices, and 10% of all of the profits they give to the Wounded Warrior Foundation. You can go to our spot, and that is All Gloves Off 10, and you can use that code. Again, it's All Gloves Off 10, and that gives you 10% off for every order that you do with us through Battle Bites. So go ahead and do that. They've got Reaper Original, sweet and spicy, and a bunch of other flavors as well. I want to look at Cheese's face here when I say this, but I sent him a thing for a coffee company that we're in negotiations with right now to possibly sponsor the show. So Cheese loves his coffee. What coffee cup do you have today, sir?
I forgot to do a mug. I just have a plastic cup of water. Yeah.
No mug today, huh? Okay, well we're in negotiations with a coffee company and another drink company as well. So you
tomorrow I'll have a mug. We will mug check tomorrow. I will have a mug for my water.
All right, you know what? We'll have to start doing that. Hashtag mug check. We're gonna have to, we're gonna make that a thing. All right, buddy. So the final game, the 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, is from the Caesars Superdome. That's just terrible to say. The Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. It is the All-State Sugar Bowl, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Ole Miss versus Georgia. This, Cheese, is the only rematch of the 4 games. So how much of a difference do you think that will have on the outcome of the game then?
I think it could have a lot of impact. That game was a lot of fun. I watched every snap of it. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, Georgia, it was at Georgia, and they were down, I think, 35-26 going in the fourth quarter and outscored Ole Miss 17-0. And Ole Miss, not only were they ahead by 9 going in the fourth quarter, they couldn't run the ball. Kawan Lacey didn't do anything. So they were basically one. And also Gunnar Stockton, the Georgia quarterback, had his best game of the year. And despite all of that, they had a 2-score lead going. I hope you're not losing me.
Just a little. It's fine.
So despite all that, despite all that, Ole Miss somehow was ahead and had a real good chance to beat them. So I'm looking forward to this rematch because they gave Georgia a lot of trouble earlier this season.
All right. I agree. I'm looking forward to this one as well. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. Do we think it's going to be the best game? I don't know. As I keep going through these, right, I'm like, okay, I think Ohio State's going to dominate Miami. I think Texas Tech is going to take care of Oregon pretty handily. I am 95% convinced that Indiana is going to handle Alabama. And I'm not sure how. I think this game will be a little closer. So this might actually be the best game of the four, Ole Miss and Georgia. So the 35 points.
You've convinced me. You convinced me this is probably the best game. I think it's going to be the highest scoring. No, just thinking about it, as we go through, I think it's going to be the highest scoring game. And I think it probably will be the closest game, actually. So, yeah, you convinced me. This is the best game.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I was able to convince you, sir.
Yes.
Let me see if I can do some other
I originally was
going
to – well, originally was thinking Texas Tech, Oregon. But, yeah, I'm thinking this game might actually be the best game, the closest.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So the 35 points that Georgia gave up in their last matchup with Ole Miss is more than the Bulldogs have allowed in their last 4 games combined. And Georgia has given up just 29 total points over those last 4 wins. The Texas scored 10 points, and that's the most that any of the team has scored against them in that time span. 10 points in one game. So, Cheese, this is my question to you. It's a real simple one, but I know you're going to just give us all this information here. How good is the Georgia defense?
It's very good, and it's a defense that didn't get off to the best start this year. Gave up 41 to Tennessee, 35 to Ole Miss. But they have, as the season's gone on, they played better and better. So now it's a very good defense. And here's the problem: this is where they did not have any bye week. They played Auburn and then played Ole Miss back to back. The Ole Miss and Tennessee, and they give Tennessee as well. Ole Miss and Tennessee's offenses are very hard to in 1 week when you not face it. They're just very unique defense. But Georgia, they knew they were playing Ole Miss. They've had 3 weeks to prepare for this. So they knew they were probably playing Ole Miss, and Ole Miss had to worry about Tulane. So that should help Georgia's defense much more than the last time they played.
I mean, really, did they have to worry about Tulane? That's okay. That's all right. We'll find.
But they had to play them. They couldn't spend 3 weeks preparing for Georgia. They had to actually play Tulane and worry about that game first.
Okay.
But if you think about it, Georgia, the only 2 teams that really torched their defense were the spread you out, run a play every 20 seconds type style of offenses, and that's Tennessee and that's Ole Miss, despite winning both those games.
All right, buddy. So now you got both quarterbacks. Both quarterbacks did finish in the top 10 in the Heisman voting at the end of the season. That's Georgia's Gunnar Stockton. He was 7th. And Ole Miss's quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, was right behind him, and he was 8th in the voting. Cheese, who has the best quarterback in this matchup between Ole Miss and Georgia?
I think Trinidad Chambliss. I think Ole Miss does. Gunnar Stockton, his numbers look pretty good. I just don't necessarily trust him in big games. Didn't play well in the playoff last year. Georgia, with that 3 weeks off, they came out flat. They looked awful against Notre Dame in that game. Gunnar Stockton, he's athletic. He's got really good numbers. I just don't trust him necessarily in the big games. And he torched Ole Miss. He had a monster game, much better than Trinidad Chambliss. I'm still saying Chambliss. I really like the dual threat. He is the run pass option with him. He's even more athletic Gunnar Stockton, more of a threat to run. So I'm going to say Chambliss. What about you?
I'll agree with you because of what you just said at the end. Yes, the run and the threat of the run that's there. And to me, that might be what separates these 2 teams. It's that close to where can one quarterback run a little more than the other one? And will that really be the deciding factor? But I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this, because to me, not just the quarterback running is the deciding factor, but this is too. So the Ole Miss running back, Kewan Lacey, has been one of the best running backs in the country in 2025. He has 273 carries. Man, that's a lot. For 1,366 yards and 21 touchdowns so far this season. But he left the playoff win over Tulane with a left shoulder injury and didn't return. His absence could simply be just precautionary, or it might be a little more than that leading up to the Sugar Bowl. Cheese, I've got 3 small questions for you. So 1, is this gamesmanship on Ole Miss's part? 2, will he play? And 3, how much of a difference maker can he be? So is it gamesmanship? Will he play? And how much of a difference maker can the running back from Ole Miss, Kewan Lacey, be in this game?
The last sentence kind of skipped, but he actually did come back in the game against Tulane. I don't know if you knew that. He did come back, and he's good to go. He's been practicing, so he is going to play in the game. So, yeah, he's a big factor. He didn't do much again that game. Ole Miss didn't really run the ball, but they did pass the ball pretty well. Dazon Stribling, wide receiver, he had a 75-yard touchdown against Georgia. So they can't – if Lacey gets going, then Georgia could be in trouble. If he gets going, I really love Kewan Lacey a lot. And Dazon Stribling, like I said, he's really came on. He had a very good game against Tulane. So, yeah, this is like maybe the best defense in the SEC versus maybe the best offense. And who will win? Will they? If it's high scoring, Ole Miss probably has a better chance. Lower scoring, they could be in trouble. So the first game was a lot of fun, and not if you're an Ole Miss fan, not the fourth quarter. But this should be an interesting matchup. I could see it going both ways. I could see the Georgia defense just shutting them down, or at least containing them because they've had 3 weeks to prepare, and I could see Ole Miss scoring a lot of points.
Do you think because of the coaching staff at Ole Miss, they want to prove that this coaching staff's better than the other coaching staff?
I did not get your question.
Okay.
All I hear was coaching staff of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you now. Go ahead.
All right. So do you think that they want to prove that they're a better coaching staff than what Lane Kiffin brought Ole Miss when they played the first time?
Well, of course they do. They of course they want to prove they're good coaching staff, and they had no trouble with Tulane. It is Tulane, but it's still the same players. It's still the same offense, still the same defense. So, yeah, but I'm sure they want to prove something. They can, beat Georgia without Lane Kiffin.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do predictions and scores. I do think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go 38-35. And I'm going to go Ole Miss, even though I did not pick Ole Miss the last time. I did this. Tulane was my upset last time we did the show like this. But I just like Ole Miss. I like the offense behind them. And I'm not sure if Georgia's defense is as good as we think it is. I also think that their running back is just going to go absolutely berserk. So I'm going to give him like 250 yards in this game. And Ole Miss is going to trample him 38-35.
Yeah, like I said, the only 2 offenses they struggled with were these type of offenses, Tennessee and Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and Georgia came out so flat after the 3 weeks off. So give me Ole Miss to not only cover the 6.5 to win, outscore Georgia. We actually agree. I thought it was going to be this is a big upset. You're like, wow, but no, you have the same pick. I got to pick one non-bye team, non-top 4 team to lose, and the other ones I can't pick the other way. So. Yeah, so give me Ole Miss to upset Georgia. And if that happens, they would play probably Ohio State, winner of Ohio State, Miami, which Ohio State, Ole Miss will be a really fun matchup. Really good offense versus really good defense. So,
yes, it will.
That is my prediction as well. Okay. So we agree on we agree on every game, maybe not the spread. I have Miami covering the spread. We actually agree. Do we agree on every game?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we do.
Great. Unfortunately, we did. Yeah. We're probably going to go.
Congratulations to Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, and Miami.
Oh, man. All right. Last question. What are we looking like as far as getting everybody right up to the game, buddy? What are we looking like there? What's that 4-letter awful channel doing with the Monday Night Football game?
Looks like they're singing something, probably the national anthem. So
we're close.
Rams, Falcons. Rams are obviously in the playoffs. They cannot win the division. It's only the Seahawks or 49ers. So they're playing for seeding, but they're playing for something else. If the Falcons lose, it helps the Rams draft pick. The Rams have the Falcons' first-round pick. So they want them to lose their last 2 games. They want that pick as high as possible, especially because Matthew Stafford might retire. They might want to trade up for a quarterback. We'll see about that. But also, the Carolina Panthers are watching this game. This is huge implications for them. That sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, it does.
Why is that? If the Falcons win tonight against the Rams and beat the Saints next week, which is very possible, even though the Saints have been winning a lot lately.
I was going to say, the Saints
if they win both games, if the Falcons win both games, they will go 8-9. And they might end up a three-way tie. Even if the Buccaneers beat the Panthers, they'll tie all three at 8-9. And the Panthers, even if they lose to Tampa Bay, will win the division. So it should come down to Buccaneers-Panthers in that game, but the Panthers can still lose that game. If the Falcons win their last two games, it'll be a three-way tie, and the Panthers win the three-way tiebreak. So this game now, which I looked at 2 weeks ago, I was like, what the shit?
I know. We were talking about doing a watch-along, and you were like, no, we're not.
Now it's important for not just Rams seeding, Rams draft pick, but also for the Panthers really want the Falcons to win just in case they lose at Tampa on Saturday.
Okay. Quick question for you here. Actually, I've got two. Look at your TV there. Tell me where we're at. Okay, you're clicking over there. Maybe you don't hear me. I was going to say.
Okay, yeah. All right, sorry, go ahead. Now I can hear you. What was the question? I did not hear anything you said.
No, it's okay. I was just asking you where they were at. We're going to try to do our best to take you right up to the kickoff there.
Oh, they're about to kick off. They're in a commercial. They're coming back to kick off. So,
okay, so they're going to come back and kick off. All right, so this should go well. So ESPN today announced all of the different telecasts that they are going to do. They're going to do the main, the field pass with Pat McAfee. Sometimes they're going to do a sky cast. They're going to do a command center cast, a field pass with the ACC huddle for the Miami and Ohio State game. They're going to do all kinds of different stuff. My question to you is, do you like any of those? And will you actually watch any of those? Or are you just I'm going to watch the regular cast and that's it?
I usually watch the Manning cast when it's available, only about half the games maybe, because I learn stuff, especially from Peyton, more so than Eli. I learn things. He tells you things you do not know, like from a quarterback perspective. He'll tell you, oh, they're seeing this on this play, so I'm going to do this. Like he's so smart. You know Peyton Manning, watching him play. His pre-snap recognition, no one's better. So I learn things. So I like it, except sometimes they get the worst guests, and I just have to turn back to Aikman and Buck. Because the guests are just annoying. They get celebrity guests sometimes. If they didn't do that, I would watch Manning cast every time, but because I'm not a fan of Aikman or Buck at all. So typically I'll watch the Manning cast.
That's what they need. They need the Lights Out Sports podcast on the Manning cast.
Absolutely. I will sit on the couch. Peyton's probably 6'5", 230. I'm about 5'8" and a half, about 170. But I will sit on the couch next to him. I will. We should get on the couch and let's do it.
Yeah, but that hair of yours is going to give you 3 more inches, man. I mean, that's just beautiful stuff right there.
There you go.
So I know you're going to write the football thing for what we do on tomorrow's show. So I want to get my thing in real quick. I want to know, do you think this whole thing was rigged so that we could get Steelers-Ravens for the last game of the season? Do you think the whole thing was rigged like I kind of do?
Well, DK Metcalf makes you think so. Attacking, grabbing, and punching a fan.
Right.
I don't know. And Mike Tomlin, do you really think he wants to go through that loss? They're calling for his head. I hope it's not rigged. We keep seeing all these things happen, and Packers didn't show up either. It's not just the Browns Steelers. The Packers defense is awful. I hope it's not rigged, but there's more and more evidence that it is. It looks like we're about to kick off here.
All right, guys. So we certainly appreciate you hanging out with us. This has been the Lights Out Sports Podcast, special college football playoff edition. Myself, Mike Valentine, and there's Cheese over at his spot. Cheese, one more time, man. Where can they find you at?
At Football with Cheese on YouTube. I think we had it. No turnover. Okay. At Football with Cheese, CHEZ on YouTube. And I've gotten like over 100 subscribers in the last week. It's just growing like crazy, my channel. Appreciate everybody who's sharing it. It's a lot of people sharing it and I cover all 32 teams on there. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, just like if you're on YouTube for all lights out, all gloves off, excuse me, SN.
That's right. So you can do both. We appreciate it. We thank you very much. We'll do a little bit of an outro music here, and then we will tell you we love you all. We appreciate you. And one last thing, of course, there's nothing fair in life with the exception of a baseball hit between the first and third base lines. Good evening, everyone.